Before doing shadow work, I thought there was just things that I was just bad at, okay? That I just wasn't dealt those cards, all right? Case closed. I never thought there was no control. I just felt like some people really just needed a lot more work to get somewhere than others. I was convinced of that. And I was an athletic kid. So it's not like I was sitting here crying my little boo-hoo heart out or not being able to do certain things. I'll say I was athletic based off of 2 sports, tennis and basketball. Later on rugby, but that's a whole different animal. There was a lot of sports that I thought just were not my sport. I knew I could do it if I put in hours and hours and hours, but I definitely thought that some people just had more natural talent for them. For example, volleyball was one of those sports I always thought that I just wasn't naturally gifted. It didn't help that I'm 5'6". So it's not like I'm sitting here at 7 feet tall and I'm not good at volleyball. It's like, I'm also short. Like, how high do you want me to jump? Anything other than basketball and tennis that required coordination wasn't my sport because I was uncoordinated. So riddle me that. Yeah, makes 0 sense. As one does in their 30s when they become a mom or trying to be a better human, I start doing some shadow work. And I realize that I got made fun of any time I was uncoordinated. Luckily enough for sports like tennis and basketball, I had started early enough that looking either wasn't there, maybe it was like I got made fun of later because I remember the later years, or it was acceptable sports to my parents, therefore there was no mocking required. I needed to be good at them. I don't fully understand why. However, I distinctly remember my dad's worse than my mom. Love him to death. I know that this is part of his like love language, is making fun of people. It's hard to be a kid and be a little bit uncoordinated, especially going through your teen years when you're just growing your limbs, like you're just gangly as is. You don't need an adult making fun of you. If we're being honest, in that like 10 plus age would have been when I would have tried other sports because I didn't have access to them. I get it. My dad, like, that's his thing. And like, I made faces. I was uncoordinated. I would try and get the volleyball and I'd be like, I get it. But that's my body trying to figure out what to do. Rather than encouraging it, my parents would make fun of me. I think they did it to my brother early enough that it made him like full on unathletic. So at least I got the benefit of 2 hand-eye coordination sports that I could transfer into other sports when I chose later on in life. Anyway, I started doing shadow work and like just floods of moments like that. And even little moments that later on that should not have been a big deal, but because of the way that I was treated in childhood, they became a bigger deal. I was an adult and someone who works with like bodies. I understand that I probably had some concussion issues and probably had some vestibular issues. I remember a basketball coach like sort of joking to the group, but being serious at the same time, but joking and not in a malicious way whatsoever, but saying, you know, she's got a good trick where she keeps her head up but her eyes glued to the floor in order to see the basketball, which I would say at a younger age I didn't have an issue with. So I do think that there was a lot of concussions involved. Anyway, that stung more than it should have because it wasn't like he was such a nice guy and he was not malicious at all, but it stung because of this would have been later on. This would have been probably like 14, 15. And at the critical age of like 10, I struggled with being made fun of when I started trying volleyball and soccer and things like that. One of the things I've always felt way too uncoordinated to do is dance. I would dance in the club, but that was just more like fun, joking, moving your body. You had the excuse that I'm probably 10 sheets to the wind, so like really doesn't matter the way that I look that I'm dancing. Over it. I remember when TikTok first became a thing and a friend of mine was desperate. She was a Raptors dance pack whatever, and she was desperate to get someone to do TikTok dances with her, and our husbands were on the same team, and I was like, hell's no, girl. I'm not getting on camera and doing a dance. And in 2020 or whatever during COVID, I learned like that one, but like the simplest, because I was not going to subject myself to that kind of scrutiny. Now realizing what I realized, I realized that dance was one of those things that I always wanted to do, but I felt too uncoordinated to do. So I did find this girl, her name is Leah, I believe. She teaches shuffle. I learned how to do like the Running Man from her. And she's got the straight leg one, which I have a really hard time with the, no, see? No, I gotta start with the other leg. And sort of do it. Anyway, so in order to get past this fear, you're probably gonna laugh a lot, but I'm gonna take 30 days. I'm gonna learn one new move a week, because like, let's not do too much. while we're also job searching. I want to say it's called the T-step I learned, but I need to spend the week getting better at it because, girl, it is not. I am uncoordinated, but I'm getting better. And you know what? By the end of it, maybe I'll be able to do a whole dance and not feel too ashamed about it. I don't know. I just want to get better coordination, and I am sick of feeling like I can't. Hit the follow if you want to join with me, or if you want to just laugh at me, because I have gotten to the point where I'm okay with that. You can just laugh. We can be friends. You can laugh. It's okay. Anyways, thank you for joining my rant. I will give you an update on but do you think it looks better? I think it looks a little bit better. Anyway, we'll talk later.